Meg Records, the Meg Record Keeping Institute. Level 248. A threshold to every dimension ever that may or may not result in the inevitable collapse of reality. Pending approval 52. PA 52, pending change, is the placeholder, pending change, placeholderth level of the backrooms. It takes the form of a vast expansion of corridors with locked doors. Image caption. Currently, the only photo of the level. Description. PA 52, pending change, is a vast suite of relatively modern hotel corridors that seem to stretch on forever. Each of them is segmented into numerous others, all similar in look. It's therefore easy to get lost, given the lack of landmarks. The level has numerous elevators and staircases that can take a wanderer to lower or higher floors. In view of all the numbers, and the fact that they change between elevators, it is not possible to give a definite number of floors, which have not yet been explored. Therefore, caution is advised if it becomes necessary to venture into the level. The doors are all locked, making the rooms impossible to access. They are numbered, however, although the symbols are sometimes cryptic or even unknown. They also tend to repeat themselves, making it impossible to use them as landmarks. Corridor lights seem to go out at irregular intervals. These episodes of darkness can last from a few minutes to a few hours. As they make navigation more complicated, it is advisable to enter the level with a flashlight. Entities. No entities have been found within the level. Bases, outposts, and communities. No bases or outposts have yet been set. It is possible, however, that campments exist in the level's corridors that haven't been found yet by the Meg. Entrances and exits. Entries. It is possible to enter the level by opening a black door in level 5, Terror Hotel. No other entrances have been discovered yet. Pending change. Exits. It is possible to no-clip in one of the doors to return to level 5. Taking an elevator and pressing a button without a number will take you back to level 0, tutorial level. That's... that's it? What do you mean that's it? You spent 2 days there and didn't find anything else to mention? Are you kidding me? This level is just lame as hell. There's nothing to talk about. There's literally nothing interesting about it. Each level is unique by the Pantheon. And to think I trusted you with this, it's not my fault if it's the blandest hotel level ever. And look at how we formatted documents 4 years ago. It's just as bare bones. But of course, you're blaming me in particular. The difference with entries from 2012 is that you spent 6 months at Base Alpha, note, Sea Level 1, Habitable Zone, getting trained for exploration. You're supposed to have the experience to log things, and you dare tell me this to my face? Oh my god, I keep telling you, there's nothing to see there. You are the disgrace of this outpost. Note, Sea Level 5, Terror Hotel. I don't want to hear about it. You're getting back there tomorrow, and this time, you write me a complete and developed entry. Do I make myself clear? Are you kidding me? You're sending me back there? Do I look like a clown, Mr. McAllister? That's what I thought. And I better not see you back here before I see an actual article from you. Do I make myself clear? Yes, sir. No image caption available. It had been barely 10 minutes since he entered the pristine white-gray corridors of PA 52, but Ray was already dragging his feet, displaying obvious bad faith. He knew this place all too well, already, and if there was something the previous 2 days of exploration told him, it was that this new mission would be purely useless. PA 52, pending change, is a sprawling, endless complex of white and gray hotel corridors. Its monotony sometimes broken by the occasional brown wooden door, although these cannot be opened by any means. Ray sighed. Even with some fancy wording, his draft was still as bland as the previous one. It was a running joke within the archivist circles that many level notes of operatives could be summarized as a quote-unquote place that is weird. Yet, PA 52 wasn't even anomalous, let alone remotely strange. Simply corridors, over and over again. Still, the teenager intended to put as much bad faith as humanly possible, just despite, quote unquote, his royalty, Mr. Rowan Olson. With a shuffling step, he headed to the nearest elevator, ready to document as many useless physical properties as possible. Like many other indoor levels, PA 52 is comprised of several redundant floors. Added to the labyrinthic nature of the level structure, this can prove to be disorienting to wanderers who are less experienced when it comes to the exploration of repetitive liminal spaces. The different floors can be reached by the use of elevators scattered around the level. Footnote: it is worth noting that there are no staircases within PA 52. End footnote. They are mostly as simplistic as the rest of the level, safe from the presence of far more buttons than usually possible, scattering the entire wall, each of them corresponding to a specific floor. Ray knew about these lifts far too well already. Pushing a random button, the teenager was reminded of the nonsensical order of the floor buttons there, as if the floors weren't created in order. He shrugged. Classic Backrooms weirdness. Not even worth pointing out, even with how desperate for information he was. Or maybe he should make a whole advice block on how to push buttons. Perhaps His Highness Rowan Olson would be pleased by such a showcase of writing literacy. He ironized as the elevator continued moving up. With a faint bell sound, the metallic cage stopped its course, finally opening its doors. To Ray's surprise, however, the corridor in front of him looked different. Eroded hall colors and weak light panels replaced the pristine corridors he left just a minute ago. No image caption available. Numberation. Note: see the Backrooms Wiki.French branches Phenomenon 2, numberation, confirmed it was still the same level. Yet, the change in aesthetics wasn't something he witnessed last time. Ray rolled his eyes, already thinking of the irritating smirk, quote unquote, his honor would display, all too happy about showing the operative how wrong his assurance was. Yet, all he could do was write it down. At least it wasn't that big of a deal. Some floors showcase signs of age, such as the fading wall colors or the light panels sometimes flickering. It is currently unknown if this is linked to how high a floor can be, or how decrepit it can be. As he continued walking around the new floor, a thought started to emerge in his mind. If the floor bear differences with the ones he visited some days ago, could the structure also be impacted? Split between the thrill of discovery and the dread of looking like a rushy idiot to Rowan Olson, Ray approached the nearest door. Surprisingly enough, the door did open. However, the most destabilizing fact was what it led to. In front of the teenager was another corridor, emerging into what looked like a northern French or Belgian landscape of the 1940s. Emerging was the word of choice here. Looking at the corridor from outside revealed that it was coming out of a verdant cliff, yet the rest of the hotel wasn't to be seen anywhere around. Just like in the Terror Hotel, it was as if PA 52 pierced into New Flanders. Note: see the Backrooms Wiki.French branches level 44, New Flanders. As Ray went back into the hotel corridor, the thrill of discovery only increased. If two levels already were connected to this place, perhaps more thresholds could be found where the corridors pierced into other pocket dimensions, like 5, Terror Hotel, or 44-FR, New Flanders. This could mean PA 52 could serve as a reliable access to some other Backrooms levels. Perhaps Mr. Olson wasn't so wrong after all. Maybe all levels could have something interesting within them. Expecting another corridor leading to another level, Ray opened another door. To his surprise, however, all this corridor led to was a dense cloud of blue mist. While the teenager never saw the blue channel with his own eyes, the database descriptions matched perfectly with the view. Carefully walking into the passage, he started to distinguish something far away. While the corridor was cut short, Ray could make out a fluctuating landscape of tunnel hallways and corridors. Ray didn't have to be a genius to put the clues together. PA 52 created its own thresholds by extending into the channel, breaking into other realms, and connecting its concrete appendages to it, similar to the hub, the endless city, note, see level 11, the city that never sleeps, or even the great outdoors, note, see level 128. It was clear that his thought from a few minutes ago was right. This place could be used as an efficient trading route by the Meg. With his excitement overriding his pride, the teenager ran back to the exit to the Terror Hotel, level 5, eager to present his discovery to his superior. Backdoor, Backrooms' #1 chat and forum, archived at 2017 06 18, 134823. User at Nix created the room. User at Nix entered the room. User at Vorkos entered the room. Nix. Hi, Anthony. Nix. What is PA-52? Vorkos. What? Vorkos. Well, PA stands for pending approval. Vorkos. They're Meg level drafts that are waiting to get approved. Kind of like what I did with 523-FR some time ago. Nix. But why is it a 52? Vorkos. It's their 52nd major draft, I guess. Vorkos. Why do you ask? Nix. What is a remodeling co? Vorkos. I assume the context has no clipped into the blue channel. Nix. No, it's the corridors that do. Vorkos. It's an expression, Nix. Vorkos. Wait. A minute. Did you mean by corridors into the blue channel? Nix. I got an email from Luizio. He said that there was a PA-52 that was hotel corridors that extend into other levels from Blue Channel. Vorkos. Oh. Vorkos. I mean, that sounds pretty cool. Vorkos. The Meg will get their Silk Road project done after all. Nix. Well, he said it was bad because it was made by the Remodeling Co. Vorkos. Ah, Vorkos. Those guys again. Vorkos. How bad exactly? Nix. Well, they said the PA-52 could break levels and kill them. Vorkos. What? Where does that come from? What's the full thing? Nix. Ad. Vorkos. What ad? Nix. Come to Luizio with me. He has it, he said. Vorkos. Maximilian's office? Vorkos. Like right now? Nix. He asked for me to come. Vorkos. Gah, I don't like this guy. Vorkos. Sure, I'll assist you, I guess. Nix. Thanks. Vorkos. Well, see you in 10 minutes there. Nix. See you. End of archived chat log. Official announcement from the Backrooms Remodeling Company. True order comes through furniture. Dear clients, 7 days ago we started constructing a new highway at coordinates 375 72 8 33 246 216 of the Blue Channel in order to improve the efficiency of our future operations. Our devoted workers have been able to develop and use our cutting-edge liminal technology, TM, in order to allow the highway to spread to other levels, which will eventually enable us to work more directly and efficiently in each one. As of today, the highway is now developing on its own, guided by a central computer system. Please note that over the next few months, it is possible that some levels will be destroyed by the inefficient corridors of the highway, piercing the arrival zones and creating rifts in the Blue Channel. This can cause the onset of disintegration. Note, see Phenomenon 9, the blue consumption, and total destruction of the area, if not of the entire level. We apologize in advance for the inconvenience, but we can assure you that it will be well worth it for our future operations. The level is currently devoid of personnel for safety reasons. As such, if you wish to temporarily stop the development of the highway for any reason, please contact us on our website to get an official to help you. We apologize again for the potential logistical issues that may arise and wish you a great day. Operation Remodeling Shutdown 19/06/2017. Due to the risk of PA-52 breaking level structures and causing them to disintegrate into the Blue Channel, it has been decided that the MEG will shut down the central network of the level to avoid further spreading, found within a remodeling company control room in the level. External collaborator Nixtlerza from Team Hermes, due to their skills in alien engineering and anomalous engineering, has been tasked with permanently stopping the computer system of PA-52, as well as stabilizing the level. They will be led by housekeeping operative Ray McAllister, as he is the only one to have ventured within the level so far, and assisted by Team Hermes scout Kataya Hall, who possesses more experience in navigating indoor liminal spaces. Base Alpha operative Ale Venrick will supervise the entire team due to his leadership abilities, allowing two different group cultures to collaborate on this important mission. Meg, Bettering Humanity. Nixtlara, Qualification, Arlene Circle External Collaborator, Anomalous Engineer. Mission, Permanently stop the remodeling co-computer without bringing harm to other levels. Equipment, Non-applicable. Kataya Hall, Qualification, Team Hermes Scout, Indoor Non-Euclidean Space Expert. Mission, Assist the team in exploring the level. Equipment, Freshly baked warp berries, Organagun, Fervio Jade Necklace, Crimson Map. Ray McAllister, Qualification, Housekeeping Operative, Original Explorer of PA 52. Mission, Assist the team in exploring the level. Equipment, Scaraback. Ale Venrick, Qualification, Regiment Compass Point Leader, Base Alpha Operative. Mission, Lead and coordinate the team. Equipment, Explorer's Toolkit. The Backrooms. You've been here before. Level 248. A threshold to every dimension ever that may or may not result in the inevitable collapse of reality. Once more, steps could be heard in the parasitic hotel corridors. The Arlene Circle duo made headway to the meetup point, eager to finally start the searching with the Meg operatives. While Kataya glanced at his feet, uninterested by the landscape surrounding them, Nyx, unlike her, was looking around with excitement, trying to understand the purpose of the human-looking structure they were still not fully familiar with. How does the Meg know it's the PA-52 is different place than the Hotel of Terror? They eagerly asked their teammate. Kataya looked surprised by Nyx's question. Remembering Anthony wasn't here to answer their cultural question, she tried formulating an answer. Well, it's mainly about the aesthetics. The Terror Hotel looks far older, something like the 30s, I think. The operative embraced the corridor. But here, it's much more recent. It's something about level evolution, I think. You're gonna have to ask Anthony for this, to be fair. He's a backborn, but he did study that stuff. I miss Anthony, the alien only responded, mimicking regret. Oh, come on, Nyx. It's been barely 2 hours. I get you two are very close, but it's only one mission, not even a dangerous one. I guess we could have insisted for him to come, but you know him. He's still easily scared. The duo took a turn, heading to where the two Meg operatives were waiting. I don't like being away from Hermes. Reminds me of things, they quacked. Yeah, I know, the hive mind thing, Kataya responded with a caring tone. I get you don't know the Meggies, but you'll see. It's gonna be fine. I'll be here to help if needed. As she spoke of the other half of the team, Kataya discerned two yellow figures waiting at a T-junction at the end of the corridor. She sped up, waving at them. There we go. We find the computer thing, you deactivate it or something, and we save a bunch of levels. The usual, you know? The alien didn't answer, still unsure of how to feel about the mission. It's only been a few months since Nyx discovered the Arlene Circle, or rather, since they came to their level. Since then, they slowly adapted to dimensions that were not designed after anything their home planet had. Cut from the consciousness of the other Styxians, it took them some time to feel at home with another species. The mission didn't make them feel at ease. Charlie, Kataya, and Anthony were good people to spend time with, but it would be a lie to say everyone at Team Hermes was this nice. Most of them, even after several months, were still looking at them with a mix of distrust and curiosity. The quote unquote chair incident of their first interaction at level 523 FR constantly reminded them not to provoke them. Yet, gossips about the alien were still rampant across the team, despite their goodwill. And now they had to cooperate with people they had never seen before, in a place they were still unfamiliar with. Kataya was here to help, But who was to say the Meg operatives wouldn't showcase the same disgusted animosity as some Hermes members? Sensing their concern once again, Kataya repeated the same words as before, trying to appease them as they closed up to meet the rest of the team. Perhaps things will go better than expected. Nobody told me the engineer would be an entity. What even is that? Nick sighed as Kataya started in disbelief at Ale. Things did not, in fact, go better than expected. The entity, as you named them, is our external collaborator, Nyx. They're like the only person able to fix whatever mess you discovered and couldn't comprehend. You know, as usual. Note, see Entity 19, the disease. Kataya retorted to Ale, ignoring Ray, who tried to greet the Arlene Circle agents. The alien, speechless, stayed in place as Kataya continued to argue with the person who was supposed to coordinate the entire mission. While they weren't surprised by Ale's apparent speciesism, the repetition of the gossip they could hear in Team Hermes still affected them more than they wanted to admit. Are they a remodeling company employee or something? They're blue gray and all. Are you sure it's a good idea? Before Kataya could even speak up again, Nix finally took a step, getting closer to the Meg operative with a growing anger. They retorted, I, for starters, am not from the Backrooms. I am a Styxian. So, the ocean on level 7? Thalassophobia. Miss Hall, listen, I understand that's your coworker and all, but have you seen it? It has sharp teeth and twisted eyes. I am not trusting that. With only a meter separating them, Nyx could easily heavily harm him if they desired. Perhaps it would prove his viewpoint right, they thought. They looked at Kataya to try to calm down, but they only found a feeling of pure disbelief within her, which didn't help them cool down. Okay, I don't really want to ruin your showdown or something, but we have some walking to do. You don't want to ruin the mission, Ale? Then do your job. Ray finally shouted to his acolyte, with a teenage assurance that surprised both of the Hermes operatives. Very well, the leader conceded. Miss Hall, I'll let you assist Ray in finding the route. Nix can go behind you, okay? I'll close the march to make sure we don't get sneaked on. Yeah, sneaked on. That sounds fair. Works for everyone? Kataya simply nodded, getting to raise distance as the team started moving, as Nick started to walk behind the two scouts. However, they couldn't help but feel like Ale wasn't behind them to watch for exterior threats. For almost half an hour, the group walked in a single file, with Ray leading the march, as Kataya occasionally gave directions with the crimson map. Nix, walking behind the Hippocrates scout, was surprised to see her anxious, sometimes hesitating, as Ray was progressively outwalking the rest of the team. Such behavior coming from someone who was quite resolute just an hour ago took them off guard. Was Ale so strange it kept bugging her long after the meetup? Is anything fine? The alien asked, to which Kataya responded by making a sign for the group to stop before hailing Ray. Hey, kid, we shouldn't walk so fast. Did you see the environment? Rushing in tight corridors like this is the best way to get ambushed by an entity. Fervio Jade is only helpful if you take the time to check its light variations, after all. No image caption available. Ray rolled his eyes as Kataya mentioned being careful. Yeah, sure. I'm curious to hear how you're planning to check every angle before going in. Want to play peekaboo with the imaginary monsters? The teen taunted, annoyed by her remark. Nix could feel the blood of their teammate instantly boil. Unlike Ale, she wasn't standing in disbelief at the operative's words, but rather feeling provoked by them. Helpless, they watched their friend respond to the provocation. You have a scaraback, don't you? Make it check the corners before going there, genius, she spat, her anger gradually flowing. The idea didn't convince Ray, however, who continued with the same tone. Oh, yeah, sure. Let's lose several minutes every time we take a turn by using it. Last time I checked, the mission was supposed to be urge. With a colliding sound, the operative was cut short by a figure running at him at full speed, making the two fall to the floor. Kataya, still at a reasonable distance, took her organagun out and pointed it at the two fallen humanoids, mumbling an I told you so, as she did. The figure glanced at the pistol and immediately put his arms up, yelling to not shoot. As the tension fell, the rest of the team managed to recognize a human being rather than a murderous creature. Identify yourself, Kataya defied, still pointing at the unknown person with her gun as Ray was trying to stand back up. Dana Bolt, liminal photographer for the Daily Rooms. I apologize for the unfortunate ambush and can promise you I mean no harm. He immediately responded, briefly checking his camera for potential damage. Where did you learn about this level's existence? We didn't make anything public yet, Ale cut, ignoring Nix, who was still standing between him and the rest of the team. Did you enter through level 5? Terror Hotel. Oh no, I came from the hub, the journalist immediately answered, eager to clear any misunderstanding. Camp Amber reported seeing a weird hallway piercing through a tunnel. And here I am, gathering some info, he continued, pointing to the direction he came from. Nix, who, before this mention, stayed outside of the conflict, immediately understood what the fact implied. While Anthony was far from an expert on the Backrooms' structure, the alien managed to do enough research on the topic by themselves to answer how the anomalous physics of this dimension worked. Coupled with their experiments on 523-FR, they learned that the Backrooms were a fragile place, merely a clunky assembly of pocket dimensions within the bigger realm of the Blue Channel. Breaking a level could very well break another, and so on. The blue consumption could lead to devastating chain reactions. It was the worry the Meg had, an unstable artificial level that could tear a hole in reality inside the Terror Hotel, level 5. However, what they had here was much, much worse. That is no good, Nix finally spoke up. If the corridor that broke in the hub disintegrates, it means hub disintegrates too. And if hub breaks, then everything connected can break too. See? We need to worry, Ray simply responded, glazing at Kataya triumphantly. No need to taunt our teammate, man, criticized Ale, before turning to Dan. You can go back to the hub and tell them to contact housekeeping. There's no signal here, but once you can talk to them, they can figure something out. We'll stop the level as soon as we can. The journalist seemed to weigh the choice for an instant before nodding, running away to where he came from, as the group hurried up to find the remodeling company control room. Addendum. This audio retranscription is classified and only accessible to the involved members of Team Hermes. Leaking of said information will be met with serious consequences. Name Hermes underscore Meg underscore remote underscore meeting underscore 001. Date 19 06 2017. Involved personnel Maximilian Luizio, Anthony Kelvin, Rowan Olson. Context Discussion around the newfound information about PA 52 given by Camp Amber. Rowan Olson. Hello, Maximilian. I apologize for the wait. I connected to the meeting as soon as possible. Maximilian Luizio. I appreciate your time, Rowan. Don't worry, this won't take long. I'll let Mr. Kelvin tell you the full context. Anthony Kelvin. Thank you, mister. I'm far from an expert in backrooms physics, but Nick's told me enough for me to do my own research in the meantime, and what I found, Maximilian Luizio. No need for excuses. Please be concise. Anthony Kelvin. Yeah, right. Apologies. So, it all ties to the phenomenon of blue consumption. In case you're not familiar with it, it's basically an event where the blue channel tears through a level, making it unstable, eventually breaking it. Sometimes the remnants sink into the bottomless blue, sometimes they reform into something else. It's a natural phenomenon which occurs rather rarely on natural levels. Maximilian Luisio. Mr. Kelvin, what did I say about being concise? Anthony Kelvin. Apologies, sir. I'm getting to it. The issue with PA 52 is that the more it develops, the more unstable it will become. And, if it breaks, then it will create rifts in the connected levels, which leads to the blue consumption. That's already really bad, but at least we can evacuate the levels in question. When the PA 52 fully breaks, the levels connected to them will move away. Note, see Phenomenon 32, level velocity, which avoids a domino effect. Rowan Olson. And how does it tie to the hub? Anthony Kelvin. Well, levels cannot disconnect from the hub. That's why the hub connects everywhere and always will, despite levels moving constantly. But since the levels can't go away, then we have the domino effect. Rowan Olson. And in practice, this means Anthony Kelvin. When PA 52 breaks, it will also break the levels it entered into, which includes the hub. And when the hub will break, every single level will be torn off from it because the entrances are hard coded in a sense, as said before. Rowan Olson. This creates a rift and the levels die. Anthony Kelvin. Exactly. See the problem now? The remodeling company created an unstable evolving level that they knew could break some levels. However, they didn't think of the hub for whatever reason. But if the hub falls, everything falls with it. Maximilian Luisio. As long as the level expands, it risks breaking. Now that it reached the hub, the consequences are much, much bigger than anticipated. This was an issue with the connected levels already, but now it is unprecedented. Rowan Olson. What can we even do to stop it if the expedition fails? We can evacuate level 5, Terror Hotel, and the hub, maybe use some reality fresheners to slow down the rift, but this won't stop the destruction. Maximilian Luisio. Nothing more, I'm afraid. The exploration team is using our only Crimson map. Without it, it's impossible to find the control room. Even luck won't help, seeing how big that level is. All our hope lies in them. Anthony Kelvin. I would trust Nix and Kataya with my life. I know working with the other groups can be hard for them sometimes, but I'm sure they'll find the control room before it's too late. It has been an hour since the team went back on their journey after their encounter. Yet, despite the deep explanation Nix gave on the risks tied to the hub, the general ambience was at an all-time low. Kataya and Ray kept arguing over every meaningless detail. Ray was reckless, and Kataya inefficient. Or, at least, that's what each said to the other. While the Meg operative insisted on the need to sacrifice care for efficiency, Kataya only seemed to see him as a fool, an agent too young to understand the true dangers of the Backrooms. Nix couldn't blame her, as she saw countless Meg logs ending in disaster already. Yet, they felt like she would listen to the same advice if it was Charlie. Collaboration was no better on their side. Ale, still behind her, glanced at them with a deep distrust he was barely hiding anymore, a feeling shared by the alien, who only identified him as a danger. Intimidating him would be easy and perhaps make things easier, but Anthony vouched for him, and they didn't want to break such a trust. The thought of their friend who stayed at Hermes 5 made their heart languish. Kataya was a good friend, but while she appreciated her analytical mind and her truthfulness, the alien already missed Anthony's nerdy conversations and awkward behavior. Still, he trusted them with this mission, and Nix was eager to prove him right. Oh, that's not good. Nix hears their Hermes companion whisper, disrupting their thoughts. Looking forward, the alien shivers at the sight of a huge crack in the ground, spreading to the nearby walls. While Nix was aware this was bound to happen, seeing it so fast, so close to them, caught them off guard for a moment. Ray looked the most impacted by the discovery, with anguish replacing his usually confident smirk. This is bad. We need to hurry before that whole thing fucking collapses, he added, looking around for more cracks before attempting to run. Absolutely not. Running will only make the whole thing break faster, Kataya retorted, grasping his sweatshirt to stop him. As the two started arguing again, Nix relocated their attention to the actual crack, an idea slowly growing in their mind. Carefully approaching it, they whispered, I can attempt something to fix it. The cubes should. The alien was interrupted by a force from behind them, throwing them to the floor. Hitting the floor, they distinguished Ale, trying to immobilize them. The shock made a cracking noise that both Ray and Kataya perceived, making them turn back to see the Meg leader and Nix on the floor. With a brief feeling of surprise away, Nix pushed on Ale, easily throwing him to the side. Ale, this is bad, Nix tried to formulate, as he also tried to stand up. His gesture was cut short, however, as the floor started to move unnaturally, before heavily vibrating. The alien desperately tried to stay up, balancing themselves to reach for Kataya, but the ground was breaking, slowly lowering itself. With a singular breaking sound, their end of the hallway detached and fell away below. As the rest of the team shouted their names in vain, Nix and Ale fell into the deep blue abyss, which muffled their own screams. The Backrooms. You've been here before. Level 248. A threshold to every dimension ever that may or may not result in the inevitable collapse of reality. Communications operator. Sir, the Meg report just came in. The sensors are going insane. The level is becoming more and more unstable. Maximilian Louisiano. Mr. Kelvin, any way we can break the connection between the Terror Hotel, level 5, and PA 52? Anthony Kelvin. I checked the GPD and Nix's notes. Nothing. Even if there was, Nix, Kataya, and the others need a safe way back in case they lose the warp berries. Maximilian Louisiano. Kelvin, the level is slowly collapsing. Chances are we lost them already. Anthony Kelvin. Sir, you're gonna have to trust them. We said it before. We can't find the control room without the Crimson Map. I have faith in my friends. Maximilian Louisiano. The journalist reported some collaboration difficulties between them. Mr. Fixit, tell housekeeping and Homely Hotel to be ready for a potential evacuation. Communication operator. On it, sir. Anthony Kelvin. Sir, I know Nix can have a hard time working with others, but I've been around them since they entered the circle. They can do it. If it was hopeless, they would have come back with the warp berries already. If they're still there, then there's hope. Maximilian Louisiano. May the Pantheon prove you right, Mr. Kelvin, because there's not much we can do outside of delaying it. No image caption available. The first thing Nix made out after opening their eyes was the deep blue hue engulfing everything in the area. Then, the remnants of the falling corridor caught their attention. The detached segment had pierced through another section below it, breaching its ceiling before collapsing on its floor. The new location looked more similar to the place they met the others in 2 hours ago, except the blue channel was tainting its otherwise gray corridors. Yet, Nix could breathe normally, as if the air didn't escape to the blue void above. Grumble. Nix's thoughts got interrupted by Aile's groan. Turning to face him, the alien saw the Meg Explorer on the floor, collapsed. It would be easy to leave this nuisance behind, this so-called leader, incapable of maintaining cohesion. Nix would be far more efficient without him. Yet, they knew Anthony would disapprove of such a decision. Nix remembered how surprised the historian was by the resilience before he told them humans were much weaker biologically. Death was still an abstract concept to the alien, but they knew how terrified Anthony was. Could Ale experience death? It certainly looked unpleasant. Yet, Anthony trusted them with working alongside the exploration team, and Nix didn't want to disappoint him. With a sigh, they started walking to Ale's location, ready to help him get back up. As they approached him, Ale slowly opened his eyes, identifying who was approaching him. He turned to back off, frantically looking for a weapon in his pocket. I not wish harm, stupid. Nix can help you, the alien muttered, annoyed by his behavior. Finally standing up amongst the rubble, he tried adopting a defensive stance, whispering, No, you won't get me. I can't. Join them already. Nix expected anger, yet they only felt fear emanating from him. True terror, in many ways. His reaction reminded them of how the Hermes operatives acted the first time they met. In an attempt to calm him down, Nix tried to smile, but their sharp mandibles only made the situation worse, with Ale almost falling, slowly backing off. The alien sighed again. Ale, you scared and hurt. Not good for mission. When I try help, people scared sometimes, but Hermes men went through it. So can you. How can I be so sure? He responded. So, note, see Entity 30, Mother, Many. Note, see Entity 45, Chupavitas, Creatures. Note, see Entity 10, Skin Stealers, tried to deceive me in the past. I lost friends. Note, see Sublevel 5.1, Grand Opening of the Terror Hotel Casino. To those things, I he hesitated. I won't get fooled by another Backrooms monster. I not from Backrooms, I said, the alien retorted. I from Styx, different front room. I saw yellow halls. You know yellow halls. The meg operative seemed to hesitate again. Entities can't get to level 0, tutorial level. I think. I mean, We're in the middle of nowhere and everything is breaking. I guess I can't do anything but trust you, he conceded. Good. Nick smiled again before turning to the giant hole in the ceiling. Now we wonder why air didn't escape to Blue Channel. Do you know Blue Channel? The question caught Ale off guard. Well, not really. We don't have a lot of knowledge about it, and the one we do have I never really bothered learning. Science isn't really my stuff, you know? Ale slowly approached the hole, although they stayed at a reasonable distance from Nyx. All I can say is there's a weird conduit energy thing above the ceiling. Like before the void, there's like a transparent shield or something. Nyx concentrated, looking more deeply into the anomalous force field. It seemed to envelop the entire corridor from the exterior, separating it from the void of the blue channel. Looking through it revealed the same phenomenon on other concrete appendages visible from afar. While it looked different than the ones Nyx used to work on, its purpose was obvious to the alien. This a matrix, its exterior skeleton. It guides growth. Well, it moves to the right. Does that mean the control room is somewhere to the left? Yale questioned. Perhaps. With the no map is only track we have, so we have to walk, Nix concluded, before starting walking to the opposite side of the room, following by a slightly relieved Ale. The travel had been thorough in the last hour. With the entire level progressively crumbling, Nix and Ale had to be more careful than ever to avoid falling again. Sometimes they had to hop over fragments of walls or ceilings, with the holes around them letting them see the translucent energy code inside, guiding them to its source. Some other times, entire parts of the floor were missing, forcing them to either perform risky jumps or take a different road. The duo was barely talking, with Ale still staying at a reasonable distance from Nyx. Discussion was barely an option. The alien didn't mind the silence, however. They agreed to help him, but only by the bare minimum, not bothering to slow down or engage in a conversation. All that mattered to them was finding the central network, saving the day, then getting back to Hermes 5 to finally reunite with Anthony. Yet, the alien could feel Ale's fear of being alone gradually replacing his fear of them. Even if he didn't trust Nyx, they were his only chance of survival, and he knew it. With a pressing step, he approached them, trying to start the conversation. I hope we'll find the others soon. I kinda miss them now, despite their constant arguing. I hope Kataya all right, Nyx responded. I know she good at exploring, but alone, in dying level, can be hard alone for humans, they added, worried. I'm sure she will be fine. Ale tried to cheer up. She looks very capable, and I don't think she would go on her own without Ray. Hard situations can create bonds, after all. The parallel Ale was making was obvious, but it did reassure Nyx. If Ale could go beyond his fear, if Nyx could try their best to work with foreign humans, perhaps Kataya would too. Thanks, Ale. Nyx simply nodded. The moment was interrupted by the heavy sound of part of the ceiling collapsing onto the floor, breaking into pieces in front of them. Without a word, the duo accelerated, both aware of what would happen if they didn't find the control room in time. Well, that no good. After half an hour spent walking in increasingly unstable corridors, the duo was now facing a dead end, the elevator and its track having collapsed before they came. Instead, a makeshift mountain of rubble and concrete surfaces was in front of them. Nyx groaned. Well, no time to take other roads. Building dying, but tall pile here is flat enough to climb. Maybe you're agile enough, but I don't think I can go there safely, Ale objected. In response, the alien advanced towards the concrete pile. Then I go alone. Wait! The operative shouted immediately, making Nyx turn around. I'll try. Just don't go too fast. Okay? The alien sighed, but nodded, hoping the operative wouldn't slow them too much. Come then. We can't wait too much. Level still in danger. Ale hurried up, joining Nyx without adding a word, as the alien started climbing. The ascension was no easy task. Despite Nyx's species having higher strength than humans, they were an engineer, not an athlete. Yet, Nyx was still doing better than Ale, who, despite their explorer training, struggled to keep up. The environment around them wasn't helping either. The duo was regularly going below other hallways, with their floors equally as unstable. Small projectiles coming from above were legion, and both of them had to watch out for them as they were climbing. I see top, Nix announced joyfully, relieved. Hopefully, we're close to. Nix got interrupted by a heavy sound, far louder than anything they heard during the rest of the ascension. Looking up, the alien shivered, seeing a corridor junction slowly detaching itself. They had to hurry up and get to the top before it fell down on the middle of the mountain. Look up! Danger! They shouted as small concrete rocks started to fall down, but Ale didn't respond. Expecting him to be paralyzed in fear, they turned, but were instead horrified to see him knocked over the ground, unconscious. The corridor above was about to collapse on them. Nix could easily leave the area in time alone, but this would condemn the Meg operative. Without a second thought, Nix ran down to Ale's body, lifted it, and then started to climb the rest of the rubble mountain, hoping they would leave the zone before the corridor fell on them. Each step was harder than the last. It had been mere seconds since they had picked up Ale's unconscious body, but Nix was already shaking, their arms and legs burning as if they were holding steel plates. Their thorax was bending under the weight, despite them trying to ease up their back. Ale might be a terrible leader, but he was still quite a muscular operative. While his weight wouldn't be an issue for Nix under normal circumstances, having to climb the uneven concrete mountain while dodging projectiles made it far harder. A dozen times they thought about leaving his body behind, but every time they fought the thought, determined to save the human from the crumbling level. If Anthony trusted Nix with collaboration, then they would make their historian friend proud. As Nix approached the top, ready to access a sturdier corridor present there, they heard the one which used to be above them just some minutes ago falling, breaking on the side of the mountain, the shock almost making the alien fall over. Turning back to face their destination, they saw a light emerging from the hallway above, flying around before going back to where it came from. Nix could recognize this shape from a mile away, thanks to Anthony's lost rants. It was a scarabæ. Kataya and Ray were close. With this newfound hope, the alien finally climbed on top, gently deposing Ale onto the floor before collapsing, their muscles tired from the climb. Wake up, sleepyhead! You still have to save the universe! A familiar feminine voice called near them. Opening their eyes, the alien witnessed a familiar face above them. Kataya, how did you find us? They asked, confused, as they gathered their thoughts together. Hey, I'm here too, Nix heard Ray shout in the distance as they approached them with something in his hands. Take this. I gave some to Ale too. Don't ask me where I got it, unless you like the concept of stealing, he added, handing them a slice of royal ration. The sight of food, even one they weren't used to, made Nix realize how hungry the climb had made them feel. They bit into it hungrily, expanding their mandibles to chew the food better as Ray watched them with apprehension and disbelief. How did you escape the breaking corridor place? Nix asked, still chewing. Well, first we yelled at each other for like 5 minutes, then we realized the whole situation was kind of our fault, Kataya narrated. Since we knew you'd find a way here, we used the map to arrive before, while Ray used the scarabæ to try to find you two, which worked. Way to here? What is here? Nix questioned, their meal finally fully eaten. Kataya smiled. You didn't get it? We're at the center of the level. Which means, she stepped aside, revealing a seemingly unassuming door, safe from the words engraved on it. No image caption available. The text on the door reads, Not an exit. It's control room. We can stop level, Nix happily shouted. Kataya and Ray nodded in response, while Ale walked up to them, albeit with some difficulties. The aliens slowly approached the threshold, fixing the gilded words as they moved forward. In such a dire situation, their meaning became almost comical. They chuckled, the illogical nature of this entire place finally getting up to them. How could a level so big and labyrinthic be efficient for the company? How could the most important part of it, the nexus of its growth and stability, look so bland and unnoticeable? Humans were already difficult to comprehend, but the remodeling company was another deal. Was Nix even meant to understand this group? Or were they merely an attempt of the Backrooms to mimic their job, like a nonsensical force of nature, twisting these realms without reason? With a deep breath, Nick set their thoughts aside and opened the door. No image caption available. Sealed away from the destruction of the rest of the level, the control room was pristine, devoid of the blue mist engulfing the corridors. Its contents were far from ordered, however, with messes of computer parts, notebooks, and tools scattered around, as if the workers had left in a hurry. The technology used was rustic and primitive, yet it took little time for Nix to understand the purpose of the many buttons and screens all around them. It had been so long since they spent some time in their element. Yet the technology was odd, primitive even. The alien wasn't used to such old monitors, let alone anything created by another species. I can figure this out, but afraid it will take time, Nix mumbled. Old technology, anomalous too. Confusing very much. Maybe I can help? Ale moved forward, close to the alien. I'm not that good with computers, but my parents back home, note, see the enigmatic level, the front rooms, have always been reluctant about new tech. That seems retro enough for me to assist you. What do you think? With the offer of the team leader, the alien felt it. The heart of collaboration, a mutual alliance, sometimes flowing in friendship, sometimes with grudges and fears to put aside. Kataya and Ray let go of their different view of exploration to instead use their skills together. And just like them, Nix accepted Ale as a teammate, just like he did for them. And here, Ale was standing near them, not shaking, not fearful, simply offering help and assisting their teammate. There was something. It wasn't as big as what they felt when they were working in Hermes with Anthony and the others, of course. Yet, in a situation where mistakes could bring up the doom of every living thing, collaboration felt even better as a consequence. Perhaps they could work with humans after all. Perhaps they could understand this species. Nix nodded, not adding a word. With little time left before the level would inevitably enter an event horizon, the two started working together, mixing their talents. Arlene Circle, against all odds. Level 248, a threshold to every dimension ever that may or may not result in the inevitable collapse of reality. Hello? Yes, we are aware. In your skybox? Did it enter? It stopped? You're sure it's not moving anymore? Yes, we have one too. I'll check with housekeeping for their sensory reports. Please update me as soon as possible. Thank you. Have a nice day. In the blink of an eye, Nix and the rest of the team no-clipped into the communication room of Hermes 5, the acidic aftertaste of the warp berries still in their mouths. Immediately, the alien noticed Anthony, who rushed to them before firmly hugging the two returning AC agents. I knew you could do it, he shouted, overjoyed. See? Checkmate, Maximilian, he then added, turning to face the Hermes higher-up, who rolled his eyes in response. Nix, first surprised at Anthony's boldness, reported their attention to Luis. Level stable. Did corridors stop growing? He nodded in response. I got contacted by Base Beta. They have identified one of them in the city. Note, see level 11, the city that never sleeps. The city's skybox. But it indeed stopped growing. The Meg sensory captors. Note, see phenomenon 32, level velocity, near housekeeping are straight as well. The level isn't at risk anymore. Yeah, Nix redirected all the power or something. This I can't explain, Kataya retorted, giving a friendly hit on the alien's shoulder. Energy exoskeleton had two purposes, growing and maintaining structure. I made sure all its energy would do second and stop doing first, they explained. Anthony hugged Nix tighter, with sparkles in his eyes. I'm so happy you managed to pull this off. I always knew you were a true Hermes member. He smiled. Not to break the moment, but you all still need to go through the checkup, a voice echoed behind Maximilian. You know, for warpberry toxins. Nix recognized the voice of Dros, the Hippocrates doctor. Sighing, they started to walk to him before getting interrupted by Ale. Hey, before you go, I just wanted to say I'm sorry for how I treated you at the start, and thanks for saving my life, he stammered. I hope we can work together again in the future. Nix nodded. I also sorry for thinking you were useless. You great teammate. Ale looked around, unsettled by the remark, as Anthony stared at Nix in disbelief. They didn't mean it this way, don't worry, the historian muttered. They still don't speak English very well, francophonic group and all that. Ale simply nodded in respect, unsure of what to add as Nix left to be the first to be examined. Meg Operation Remodeling Shutdown Report. 2. Maximilian Luizio, Team Hermes of the Arlene Circle. Although close, the mission was a success, and the exploration team managed to redirect the power from the expansion of the corridors to the maintenance of the energy exoskeleton maintaining the structure of the level. Thanks to this reprogramming, what remains of the level is now stable, and exits are not at risk anymore. Furthermore, the level won't grow further, meaning that no additional threshold could compromise the level. The Meg is currently undergoing heavy discussion with the Backrooms remodeling company due to the risks they took to create their highway level. While not officialized as of now, the offer to not bother their future endeavors in exchange for getting exclusive access to their former property is likely to be accepted. This would allow the major explorer group to have access to yet another trading route, greatly helping our outposts located deeper within the backrooms. If it becomes the case, a new, improved article for level 248 will be created and added to both the general public database and the Meg database. We do, however, want to point out the collaboration difficulties that occurred between the four members of the team. While it eventually got settled in the field, it is something both of our groups should watch out for, as this issue persisting could very well create heavy consequences in the future. Meg, Bettering Humanity.